dudes, and welcome back to the Bantz. As always, I am your host, the Bantz, and it's finally Monday, the beginning of the week, so it's time for our first What's Happening in Fashion this week, so let's just get right into it. And first off, I do want to give you guys just the quickest little apology. Unfortunately, I had really bad sore throat on Friday, hence the reason there was no video. But as you can tell, I'm back in tip-top shape. So with that, let's move on to our headlines for the day. And in our first headline of the day, it was rumored that Yves Saint Laurent will actually be showing in New York this following season rather than Paris, in a very shocking move in my opinion. Now obviously this is still just a rumor, as YSL themselves have yet to comment on it, but even so, if this happens to be the case, this is the definite breath of fresh air that New York Fashion Week needs. As some of you may remember, I did cover men's New York Fashion Week, and it was absolutely dreadful. Like, if I look back on it now, I still feel the same way, in that if it's going to be that bad again, then there's just really no reason for it. But along with the rumor that Saint Laurent is showing in New York this next season, there's also the rumor that they're not just doing women's wear, but they're doing menswear as well. And even though the talk is that more than likely, if they do show menswear, it's going to be in a co-ed show. But even so, at this point, any good menswear going to New York Fashion Week is better than what was there before, believe me. So at the very least, it'll be interesting to see how this story unfolds, and of course, I will keep you updated if I hear any other news. Then, in our second headline of the day, brand Acronym just released their spring-summer collection lookbook, so of course, we have to talk about it. Now, starting off, a lot of the pieces here look pretty standard from what we'd expect from Acronym, but of course that's by no means a bad thing. The pants look pretty on point as per usual, as do a lot of the accessories, mainly in the form of their belts and of course the bag they show too. The shorts of course are also a very nice touch, though I do really want to see them up close, or at least see what technical details they have before I can actually dismiss them or approve them. But of course, where things really get interesting in this lookbook is in the jackets, of which there are two. The first being that black and olive green jacket, which in my opinion looks up there with the best of the pieces that Acronym has done over the years. It has some really nice technical aspects to it, of course, which I'm sure we can't all see up close or just from face value. And I really enjoy the layering on the olive sleeve and like to see how that plays into the functionality of the piece. But then on the flip side, we have this neon yellow thing, and I can't say I'm all for it. Of course, the quality is there, the design is there, this is Acronym we're talking about after all. But when I look at the actual color of the piece, I mean, I've talked about this many times in the past. One thing that a lot of tech brands do that's just absolutely awful and off-putting is making these just out of the park colors, and I can't help but think that's what Acronym did here. But I think this time I can give the piece a pass, mainly because it is just one piece and it doesn't ruin the rest of the lookbook, which is all just black and olive green, as it really should be. And I do get a lot of, I guess you could say, more Stone Island vibes from this piece than I do, let's say, the North Face black in this piece. But of course, if you are even the slightest techwear fan, definitely check out this lookbook, you won't be disappointed. Alright, now let's move on to our art stories for the day. And in our first story of the day, World Press Photo showed off the winning images from their 2018 contest. And honestly, if you're even the slightest fan of photography, definitely check out these photos. There's some very powerful and moving images in here, and definitely worth looking into. Then Jeff Koons sat down with Hypebeast of all people for a nice little interview, talking about some of his pieces and some of his ideologies. So if you want to know a little bit more about Jeff Koons and how they pick his brain, definitely give this a read. Then GR Gallery in New York City showed off some of their newest pieces from their upcoming exhibit featuring artists 1010, Ron Agam, and Nelio. And honestly, I think all three artists are pretty interesting, and if you want to see some more of their work, I definitely check out this. And if you happen to stop by the exhibit, it opens early next month, so if you happen to be in New York anytime soon, I would definitely check that out as well. And lastly, Stolenspace Gallery in London just opened their newest exhibit featuring literally a slew of different artists and skateboarders all involved in obviously the skateboarding industry, and there's really a ton of names in here. Just to name a few, we have Ed Templeton, we have D-Face, we have the Gons, we have Shepard Fairey. Literally anybody that's ever been involved in art and skateboarding is probably here. So I would definitely check out some of these photos, and if you happen to be in London, I definitely check out the exhibit as well. Alright, now with our art stories done for the day, let's move on to our fashion stories. And starting us off, unfortunately we gotta talk about this. Supreme and Lacoste collaboration just came out, so let's give it a look. Oh look, this piece has a Lacoste logo and says Supreme. And look at this. This piece has a Lacoste logo and says Supreme. And check that out. This piece has a Lacoste logo and says Supreme. And oh boy, look at that. This piece says Supreme and has a bunch of Lacoste logos. Whoa. I just don't get it. Even for Supreme, this is fucking lazy. I mean, what's with all these fucking New York brands being so fucking lazy with their logos and branding recently? Obviously, no disrespect to 10 you guys are doing fine. I mean, Union just fucking did this. Awake NY has been doing this for a while now too, and now Supreme is doing it, although I guess I can't really complain because it is fucking Supreme. I mean, who's really surprised by that? But yeah, once again, if you're a Supreme fan that wants to pretend like you're a Lacoste fan as well, here you go. Alright, so now moving on to something a little bit more interesting. Sacai and Carhartt showed off their newest collaboration, and honestly, I thought it was pretty good. First off, I really liked a lot of the little smaller details on a lot of these pieces, such as the zippers and their placements, the little ties, the side ties, things like that, and even the little placards that they put on a couple of the pieces. I think they were all really nice, really tasteful, and definitely not overdone, which happens to be a huge problem that brands tend to do. Then as far as the bigger details go, I really did like the patchworking on the few denim jackets that did it, even if the designs themselves are a little bit more different than what I'd consider a lot of patchwork to be. And then I really liked the marching band aesthetic on some of those jackets as well. Those are by far the most interesting and best pieces. And I even can say that I liked the Chrome Hearts designs on some of these pieces, even though personally I'm not a fan of it myself and I definitely wouldn't wear it. So if you are a fan of Sacai or Chrome Hearts and are looking for some new pieces, or maybe you're just looking for a couple new denim jackets in general, definitely check these out. Very nice overall. Then Obey, man, there's a brand I thought I'd never say again, came together with punk band Misfits for their newest collaboration, and honestly, it's just not that good. So let's start off with the silver lining here. In all honesty, most of the jackets here are pretty decent. The colors are alright, the graphics are alright, and overall they do give off a very nice Misfits aesthetic. But then moving on into everything else, I really only have one question here, and that is, what the fuck is with all the fucking colors? I mean, yes, I know this is a punk collaboration and punks don't give a fuck about what other people think about what they're wearing, but these pieces are just bad, even by punk standards. I mean, for fuck's sake, you're using more color in this lookbook than most streetwear brands are using in their lookbooks nowadays. I mean, you would at least think that somebody as counterculture as Shepard Fairey, whose own paintings are renowned for being literally just 3 colors for the most part, black, white, and red, would be able to do this collaboration some justice. But nope, let's throw some fucking yellow and some pastel pink and some pastel green in there. That seems like a good fucking idea. So I have to say, if you are somewhat of a Misfits fan, I would definitely check out some of the jackets here, but for everybody else, and for the rest of the collection, just don't fucking bother. Then Chinatown Market showed off their spring 2018 lookbook, and finally is getting a little bit more decent again. Now, not all of the designs in here are good. They're far from it. There are some rehashes of some old designs that they've already beaten to death. There are some designs in here that feel like blatant copies from other people's brands, and there are some definite bad designs as well. But if you sift through all of that, there are a couple, in my opinion, decent designs and even some good designs as well. But even with the fact that there is some good and a lot of bad here, you at least have to give it the Chinatown Market for at least finally fucking trying something new. So at the very least, in that respect, kudos to you guys, Chinatown Market. Thank you for at least kind of coming out of your shells once again, and hopefully you can continue in other seasons, and hopefully you can polish up these designs as well. And lastly, we finally have the answer to a question we asked in our last Best of the Month video, and that is, can Billionaire Boys Club keep up their decent designs? And to answer that question for everybody, the answer is no. Now, I'm not gonna lie, there are a couple pieces in here that I do like. And when I say a couple, I literally mean like 2 or 3 out of the entire collection. And speaking on that entire collection, it's just more of what they're known for doing. A lot of logos, you get the idea. And then a bunch of all over prints, which are either very wonky or just bad or boring or misplaced and just don't really make sense. And once again, one of their big problems that they always seem to do so well is they just can't put a cohesive collection together for the life of them. I don't know why I'm feeling this disappointed when I knew full well that this was going to happen, but even so, seeing them go from their last collection to this, yeah, definitely disappointed. And unfortunately ending there, let's move on to our articles for the day. And first up, Racked put out an absolutely amazing article based on this new idea from Amazon's Echo called Echo Look, which is an algorithm-based styling program, and they really dive deep into this idea of the philosophy of style and fashion and digital style versus normal historical style, and how the algorithm works or how it's supposed to work. And really in-depth and really long article, and definitely think everybody should give this a read. Then Grailed put out their list of some of their favorite Carhartt work in progress collaborations, and honestly I think they did a pretty decent job here. Definitely some of my favorites are on this list as well, so if you haven't really gotten a taste of Carhartt before and definitely want to see some of their better pieces, I would definitely check this out. Then Mr. Porter came out with an article called Is the Term Streetwear Becoming Obsolete? And they give some pretty interesting ideas, and they talk with a designer who considers themselves a maker of streetwear. And in all honesty, even though I don't necessarily agree with some of the ideas here, I do think it's very important to get an outside look on some of the reasons why people think the way they do. So if you're interested in kind of the history of streetwear or what streetwear actually means, I would definitely give this a look. And lastly, the New York Times put out an article talking about Saudi Arabia's first fashion week, and honestly, very interesting piece. They go into what happened, how it's such a cultural impact for the scene in the Middle East, and how there's a lot of fledgling designers that can really be shown to the world because of this. And honestly, once again, very great article. And even though it is solely based on women's wear, I do think it is very important to see, once again, fashion from different parts of the world. So definitely worth checking out as well. Alright guys, and with that we come to the end of our first whiff for the week. I hope you guys have enjoyed. And as always, if you want to see any more of the photos I wasn't able to post from the lookbooks or read any of the articles I talked about today, I've linked everything in the description down below. And if you are new to the channel, we do 2 weekly news shows on Monday and Friday, so if you're interested in seeing more, feel free to subscribe. Otherwise, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'm always willing to talk fashion. And with that guys, thank you once again for watching these videos and supporting this content. I hope you have a good couple days until I see you next, and as always, until next time.